Sorel, if I said power couple to you, who do you think of?
I think of Beyonce and Jay-Z.
Okay.
I think of Michelle and Barack Obama.
Obama. Yeah. Okay. So you think of two celebs.
Yeah.
Both famous, both successful.
Yeah. And like their fame sometimes is like codependent on them being together.
Yeah. The whole is more than a sum of its parts.
Yes.
Would you ever want to be in a power couple?
Hell no.
Hell no.
No. Hell no. Do you know what it is? I am powerful enough.
Oh, I am invincible.
I am all
I
woman.
am a woman.
Exactly.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah, so,
Same.
yeah.
I am also invincible and I am a woman.
A woman.
Well, this really gets to the heart of what we're going to discuss today. How do celebrities' relationships influence their status? We'll be talking about Sabrina Carpenter and Barry Keoghan, Ariana Grande and Ethan Slater, plus Julia Roberts and Danny Moder.
I'm Sarel.
And I'm Jack Remmington, and this is Famously in Love, the podcast where we take a deep dive into the salacious scandals and dastardly dramas of love under the spotlight.
Whether it's infidelity and torrid affairs, or age gap relationships, co-stars canoodling, or snaps from paps with the most PD of A, we're putting fame and love under the microscope.
From BBC Sounds, this is Famously in Love. So, as we mentioned, today's episode is all about celebrities' relationships influencing their status. Do famous people strategically date other famous people as a career move?
Even if it hasn't been set up solely for that purpose of appearance, it can't be denied that certain power couples generate more star power together than apart.
Like Posh and Becks?
Yeah.
Are there any others you can think of?
Ryan Reynolds
And
Blake Lively.
Yes.
Because separately, didn't care. Together, I'm invested.
I agree with that one, actually.
Yeah.
I think they are very much a good
Togetherness.
sum of their partiness.
Yeah.
I agree.
If you say that equation one more time.
It's not really an equation.
What is it?
I don't know.
Geography?
No.
Okay.
But really, as a geography graduate,
Yeah.
anything really falls under the realm of geography. So I'm going to say yes.
I'm going to pivot this conversation along now.
Pivots can also be geographical.
Great. Fantastic.
A really interesting phenomenon is watching celebrities become famous and for a variety of reasons ditch their long-term, often non-famous partner.
Oh.
And almost inmediatamente, that's Spanish for immediately, in case you didn't know, start dating another celeb.
Yeah.
There's a lot of celebrities we can look at under this lens.
Yes.
But first, there is a really current example of a kind of celebrity upgrade, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And the two are Barry Keoghan and Sabrina Carpenter.
Wow.
So, in case you're not familiar with them, Sabrina is a singer, best known for her hits Nonsense, Feather, and most recently, the iconic earworm that is Espresso,
Yes.
our caffeinated queen.
Yes.
Also, famously, in Nonsense, in the outro, she always does a couple of little lines that are relevant to like where she's performing. So when she supported Taylor on tour recently, at Taylor Swift, every city she was in, she'd say something a bit cheeky about that place.
Yeah.
And then Barry is an actor who played the lead character Oliver in the hit film Saltburn.
Yes.
And he was very critically praised for his role in Banshees of Inisherin. The backstory is Barry, who is now 31, met a dentist called Alison Kierans in a London bar in Feb 2021. So it's all quite recent stuff anyway.
This is very recent.
Yeah, they got
Current
into a
affairs.
relationship, had their baby Brando in 2022.
So a year later.
He then has his breakout year, 2023, which was Saltburn and his Oscar nomination. Then we have him meeting Sabrina Carpenter in September of 2023. So he's, not even a year had a baby. It's only been 2 years since he met the dentist, Alison. He met Sabrina at Paris Fashion Week.
Yeah.
4 months later, so January of this year, 2024, Barry confirms his split from Alison 15 months after the arrival of the bébé.
The baba.
1 year and 3 months, that is.
Yeah.
Since then, Barry and Sabrina have slowly been launching their relationship in the public eye.
Yeah.
So the most kind of confirming moment of that was at Coachella. She performed Nonsense, as she always changes the lyrics, and said, made his knees so weak he had to spread mine. He's drinking my bathwater like it's red wine. Coachella, see you back here when I headline.
Fantastic, first of all.
That's quite risque.
Risque.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So firstly, who is doing the upgrading here, if any? By the time they got together, Saltburn had been out.
Yeah.
So was he more known at that point? His star was rising quicker, I would argue.
You would?
Yeah, because this is pre-espresso. I think the average person didn't know about her.
I would say you're wrong.
Really?
I think TikTok kind of grabbed onto her and ran with her.
And also, is this the Taylor effect? Because obviously, had she not supported Taylor on tour, who, I'm not saying who would have cared, I'm sure plenty would, but en masse, the nonsense outro situation, it became such a viral thing.
Huge viral thing.
He then went to see her, I think it was Singapore.
Yeah.
So
I think they both
really mutually benefited.
Very much so. Now, I just want to pivot back to La Dentiste, because if I was the dentist...
Poor old Alison.
Poor Alison. Just had your baby. What? How many
always
months
so much
post-
worse when it's the baby.
So much worse.
A year and 3 months the baby was when they split.
Sorry.
I know.
No. And listen, there's probably rumblings beforehand. It's
in the junglings.
There's probably rumblings, and we don't know the full ins and outs. I, can't talk too much on that specific situation, but I would say that if I'm putting myself in her shoes, it must also be so hard to watch it played out so virally and publicly whilst holding your baby.
And you're a dentist, like you've never signed up to be in the public world.
No.
And also at this point when they met in 2021, she could never have anticipated that he would be so in the public world.
And so quickly.
But then I guess, not to, hello, I'm devil's advocate, but like logistically, if he's, having to do all this promo and he's out and about all the time in his films and things, unless the baby's travelling with you, how present can you be?
Exactly.
At the moment.
But I think what makes it difficult is because they met quite quickly. She probably doesn't have an understanding of this, which then boils back to the pressures of him trying to explain to her what he has to do to promo.
Having someone in the industry
makes it a lot easier.
I think so.
But also, try and make it work with me. I understand
but who said that he didn't?
Well, I want the perks. I want to go to the fashion weeks. I want to go to... I did not go through all of this you struggling as an actor nonsense for you to then just drop me.
Yeah, because also she's a dentist. She'll have been financially probably been doing better than him for a while.
Take me to the nice parties. Let me dress up a little bit. You don't have to stay with me forever, but at least let me see a little bit of the fruits of my labour. That's personally how I would feel about it.
Do we think then, circling back, that he thought about this? Or was she a shiny new toy? Is this the PR team's going, this would be a great idea? Do we believe that they're in love?
Well, in love, no. I think they fancy each other. I think there's...
He was grinning watching her perform at Big Weekend from the rafters, honestly.
You would.
Videos, you can zoom in on his face and he's just like a Cheshire cat.
Yeah. But no, I don't think their management put them together. I don't think he's about that life. I think he saw this girl, he fancied her. He got her. Made his move.
Yeah.
So sometimes people just fall out of love, and it doesn't have to do anything with wanting to, upgrade to being a power couple.
Mm-hmm.
Our next couple could fit into that category, but like with a lot of celebrities, it's a little bit messy.
Okay.
It's a little bit layered.
Go on. Peel the layer.
So, layer one.
Yeah.
I would like to talk about none other than Ethan Slater and Ariana Grande.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, let's go.
Let's go. I'm quite interested in getting your thoughts on this, because let me set the scene. 2020.
Yeah.
The panny is rife. Well, beginning to be rife.
Yeah.
Tiger King taking over my timeline.
Killed her husband, whacked it.
Yeah. Savage is also big. So we're talking about Ariana Grande. Okay.
Yeah.
So she meets Dalton Gomez.
Yeah.
Who is a luxury. She meets Dalton Gomez, who is a luxury real estate... Flipping heck.
Put your real estate flipping and reverse it.
He sells big houses, right?
He's basically selling Sunset, but not on telly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They started dating in quarantine, okay? And then they quarantine together. They do COVID together. A year later, married. December 2022, Ariana starts filming Wicked, the movie.
Which I can't wait for.
So excited for. So her co-actor is Ethan Slater, and he joins the cast.
As Bok, for anyone who loves Wicked.
Yes.
Which I do.
Thank you so much for telling the fellow fans who...
Oh, Bach, okay. I think you're wonderful. That's what Nessa says.
We're now getting a rendition. Would you like to sing as well?
We deserve each other.
Great.
Can't you see this is our chance?
Joy. Done?
Yeah, anyway.
Okay,
yes,
fantastic.
Yeah, that's fine.
So Ethan was married to his high school sweetheart, Lily J, at the time. And they had a son together. This seems like a recurring theme.
Yeah, innit?
What's up with little babbies? So they'd had their son together earlier that year. Rumours start circulating that there might be something going on between Ariana and Ethan. And then in July of 2023, Ariana splits up from Dalton after 2 years of marriage. Okay?
This is also a common thing, lockdowny wise, because that's what happened with Taylor Swift. She got into that really serious relationship with Joe Alwyn through lockdown. Yeah. And then apparently, I mean, obviously we were all very different in terms of like, I know obviously our patterns of behaviour, of course, were different in lockdown versus to then being outside again. But I think the thing with him was reportedly that he couldn't cope with just kind of what came part and parcel with being Taylor Swift in the real world, because he just got her as, I guess, the most stripped down version person. And I wonder if that was a similar thing with those two, where because they split, like it was all well and good and cooped up and it's you and me against the world, then suddenly
it's
normal life picks up again. I wonder if that's if there's any relation.
Also, a lot of us thought we were going to die, so you know you're just kind of monkey bar swinging into a relationship. I'm in love. Let's pop a baby out. Like, let's just get these things happening. So you never know what was going on. But they have their marriage. She meets, you know, this new co-star.
Yeah, SpongeBob.
Yes. And then she splits from Dalton after 2 years of marriage. In the same month, sources confirm that she recently, quote unquote, starts dating her co-star, Ethan.
Yeah.
Now, Ethan's wife says she was completely blindsided by this relationship with Ariana. In October 2023, Ariana and Ethan reportedly move in together. In March, she drops her 7th studio album, which has 13 songs.
It's so good.
It's a fantastic piece of work.
It's so good.
And shout out to Ariana and her vocals.
Yeah.
The songwriting is great, but she drops 13 songs. Talking about her divorce and her relationship from the beginning, you know, with her and Ethan, yada, yada, yada. So, now there's a lot to unpick here, particularly around the backlash Ariana received through all of this. And I kind of want to start talking about why is it that women are considered the homewrecker in situations like this, when, might I say, Ariana didn't make her vows to Ethan's wife. Ethan made the vows. Yeah. Till death do us part, in sickness and in health. Why are we going for Ari?
Better or for worse, Sponge or for Bob.
Exactly. That whole thing. Why is it that the woman always gets branded as a homewrecker? I think it's very, very unfair. And don't get me wrong, I don't know the full ins and outs of what's happened. I cannot talk about the specifics.
Well, I think specifically with this example, we have to preface it with that, right? Because no one really does know. That's the whole point of Yes And, where she's just like, why do you care whose dick I ride, blah, blah, blah. It's very much just, I really like the angle that she took on that. Oh, yeah. Of just being like, rah, here's a #1 single. Yes. It's just like, And? So I think underpinning it all is we actually don't know what happened. We don't. There seemed to be no, like, outwardly. What didn't help Ariana's case optics-wise was Lily going to Page Six and saying she's not a girl's girl. That is a really shit thing for a woman, i.e. Ari, to hear or have said about. Like, no girl wants to not be a girl's girl.
And I hear that, but I also think if I play devil's avocado, if we spin it, I don't think the wife, in the heat of the moment, in all the emotions, is ever going to be like, shout out to Ariana, Feminism 101, I love you. Like, she's going to be like, I'm hurt by both parties. She could have said worse. She could have said way worse. She could have
said so much worse, because her life, as far as we see it, has taken an absolute tumble.
Yeah. She could have said way worse. And I think this is what I mean by, I'm guessing there were rumblings and cracks before Ariana came into the picture between her and Ethan. And unfortunately, whatever happened between Ethan and Ari happens, and you kind of have to let your frustration out on the people who you feel have affected you. So, like, she's valid in how she feels, but I can't say that her truth is the truth.
Yes, I agree. I also wonder, though, if the homewrecker thing, I can't speak across all cases, but specifically with this one. Yeah. no one knew who he was before this situation. So therefore,
I'd never heard of that man a day in my life.
I feel like the blame was then going to be
on the bigger
pinged
person.
onto her because we know of her.
Yeah.
I'm obviously not trying to go, oh, it's not a gendered thing, because it massively is, and the homewrecker thing, as the woman always is.
Yes.
But in this situation, it happened that the female party of the two was the way more famous one.
Yeah. And naturally, to sell the headline, no one's going to be like,
Ethan Slater, home-wrecking SquarePants.
Exactly. SquarePants. No one's going to be saying that. No. They're going to be using Ari as the hook to get the readers in.
Yeah.
I also find it interesting, though, that in situations like the Barry Keoghan or the Ariana Grande or whoever it is that you might be looking at fits this blueprint, everybody assumes that cheating took place. Because what if, walk with me, she is unhappy in her marriage. Things are going left, right and centre. She's like, listen, I can't do this anymore. Well, let's separate. They separate. She goes to set. She's upset, but her art is flourishing because that's how she has the best escape. She meets this guy on set. He's really sweet. He's nice. He asks her how she's doing. They get talking. They're mates.
Yeah.
They build a friendship. He's like, this is exactly what I was looking for. He then leaves his situation.
Yeah.
And then they get together. Like, it's not always...
Which I think is what they're basically wanting the world to
believe.
Yeah.
And
whether true or not.
I mean, maybe I'm just a sucker because I like Ari, but I can't believe it.
I would like for it. Yeah, I would like for it to be
I just
true.
feel like... Anyway, in an ideal situation, that's what, would have happened. But I think it's very interesting that we always are like, something salacious happened.
Well, the media loves that. And I guess that's what it is then. It's... particularly with the home-wrecking thing, you've got both of them, Sabrina and Ari, as these beautiful, what we see as the pinnacle of femininity, for want of a better word, swanning in and leaving the poor, normal woman at home with a child and taking the man. So it's that. Want to delve into more celebrity stories?
Well, Stacey Dooley and Larry Dean analysed some of the most crazy, shocking and downright absurd celebrity trials and controversies, both in court and by public opinion, in their podcast, Famously on Trial.
Listen to every episode on BBC Sounds. So we've had examples there of where the celebrities, men in particular, have separated from their non-famous partners and ended up with more famous girlfriends.
Yeah, and while it seems to be, Taylor's old as time, younger, hotter model, there does seem to be something in the water in Hollywood.
So now I want to talk about where basically the opposite happens. A celebrity with a history of dating very famous men, serving power couple on red carpets, decides she's had enough of it.
Can't say I can relate to this, but I'm ready to dive right in.
Maybe one day you'll be able to relate to this. Maybe not.
Yeah.
I want to take us back to 2002.
Yes.
And talk about Julia Roberts.
Julia.
Okay, so fashion is denim everything. Low-rise jeans, very, very in. I feel like we're circling back to this now. It's literally just like 20-year circle backs in it. Because I watched a video literally this morning on TikTok of Leomi Anderson wearing what she called coochie cutter shorts that were literally about 3 inches. They're like a pant.
Yes.
And I was just, that's denim everything.
That is
and
that
just
era.
That vibe. And she looked fantastic, might I add. She always does. Anyway, so we have camera phones.
Yes.
The very first camera phones. Kelly Clarkson wins the first season of American Idol.
Wow.
Moment like this as well, which then Leona sang as her winner single.
Gosh.
Some people wait a lifetime for a moment like this.
They really do.
Yeah. The Osbourne starts, which, is this a long time ago?
This is a long time ago.
Which was kind of like the OG Kardashians too.
No, not kinda. It was.
Yeah.
Sharon paved the way.
Yeah.
This feels ancient.
Well, so then here's the sucker punch. Dilemma by Nelly and Kelly. So that's over 20 years old now.
Oh my.
With his little plaster on his face. Oh, and her little gorgeous red wig.
Red flick of the
Yeah,
wrist wig.
and she invented texting on Excel. In that video.
She did.
Yo, where you at?
She did.
So over the years, Julia has... So that's the year, right? Okay, that's the era.
Yeah.
And over the years prior, Julia Roberts has had romantic relationships with loads of actors, including Liam Neeson, Kiefer Sutherland, Dylan McDermott, Matthew Perry.
Iconic.
Just the ITGIRL. I actually wish we'd had been more old, like mentally with it at the time to have clocked all that.
Yeah, not 7.
Yeah, in it. In 2000, she met a cameraman called Danny Moder while she was filming The Mexican. At this point, he was married and she was dating an actor called Benjamin Bratt. In June 2001, Julia split from Benjamin after nearly 4 years together.
Yeah.
And reports begin that Julia caused the breakdown in Danny's marriage in 2001. Now, this is all somewhat news to me because in my head, because I was too young at the time, Julia Roberts to me is one of the last like pinnacles of Hollywood elite stardom, glamour puss with no drama. In my head, she's like a younger Meryl Streep, you know, of just like great at her craft, beloved, gorgeous, but not drama.
No drama, does her craft, looks beautiful in gowns and is bedazzled in jewels and goes home. That's it.
And is like a work wife of George Clooney, but never, you know. So
little did we know.
Little did we know. So Danny's wife, Vera, important that she's called Vera, was reluctant to agree to a divorce, apparently. So now, this is the drama, which I actually... Enter Julia Roberts' infamous DIY T-shirt, right? In busy West Hollywood, which is iconic because she knew to go out into the gay area because the gays would eat.
They would spread that like wildfire.
She wore a white T-shirt with a handmade slogan that read, "A low Vera." A space L-O-W space Vera. Hello, Vera.
Hello, Vera.
You are low.
Yeah.
You are gutter snipe rat trash. And Danny's family, garbage rat. You are coming around the corner looking for a food.
Garbage rat.
And shatty place. And Danny's family were not impressed.
Naturally.
So maybe it did its job because she was not basically allowing the divorce to go ahead. She was stalling. And then Vera officially divorced Danny in June of 2002. And not a month later, he and Miss Julia tied the knot. A month after the divorce, they got married.
Crazy.
But Danny, unlike Julia's ex-boyfriend Benjamin, seemed to be completely unbothered by his new wife's fame.
Right.
And maybe that's why they worked. And that is my theory a little bit. It's kind of what I was touching on earlier. They're still together. They have 3 kids.
Yeah.
Building on that context, I want to talk about celebs moving away from having famous partners. Why do we think that happens? With this example, think it's kind of what I said earlier of she has been through so many high-profile actors, you know, blah, 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 whether they were intended, you know, in her head to actually be things that she was hoping were destined forever, whatever. Yeah. She's got best of both worlds, really, because she's not with someone who's ego-y because he's behind the camera, but he understands the world that she's in.
When I think of the type of relationship I would want, I want someone who is egoless, who understands what I'm doing, who actually probably proactively pushes me to be like, you should audition for this, or I spoke to this casting director and I'm working on this project. Would you like me to get you? You know, obviously not that Julia Roberts needs the inner for, you know what I mean? But it's nice to have someone who understands what you're going through. So it was a natural progression. However, Julia, my darling, that T-shirt.
Messy boots. Yeah.
Julia!
Yeah.
I didn't have it. That is... But it's also kind of slay.
Yeah, it is.
In like...
But in a way that I'm like, am I allowed to feel that it's iconic because it's not my heart that was broken?
Exactly. I feel like if we give it more time, it will become more iconic over time. But I think
it's been 20 years.
No, we need more time. that was a statement she made.
It's very... Also, what a time, because people just don't do that. You know, like Paris Hilton stopped being poor top.
Yeah.
Like, it was a product of its time.
Yeah.
I feel like the last one I can remember that was funny was Charlie XCX wore a T-shirt that said, they don't make statues of critics. When her album got really slated, I think.
LOL.
Yeah. And I think that's quite, like, slogans on tees.
Yeah.
You just know what you're doing. And as long as you look good alongside it, which I'm sure Julia Roberts did.
Exactly. And you go out, you've got your big sunnies on, you act unbothered.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that is iconic.
It is.
Unfortunately.
And then I guess it's like, how often do we actually see A-list celebs with non-famous people? But I also think that's a harder question to even answer, because I think it's largely that we don't give a shit about them if they're not famous. As in, like, most couples in the world are not famous couples.
Yeah.
So if you've got a famous, you know, with Zendaya and Tom, for instance, it's so much more interesting because we actually follow the careers of both of them.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are lots of A-list celebs who are with people that they've met along the way in terms of hairstylists on shoots or dancers in music videos or whatever.
Yes.
Like,
Britney's
was a dancer for a while. I'm sure Madonna was dating a dancer for a while. I feel like Cher was as well. But it's like, okay, well, they're not really, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Like,
Britney's more so because the focus so much on the Free Britney stuff was around her and Sam. But yeah.
Yeah, no one really, and, you know, we're like, oh, cute, they've been together for a long time, or, oh, cute, she got with a plumber. But other than that, I don't care what the plumber's wearing to the Met Gala.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Unless it's a pipe.
Okay.
Stranger things have happened.
Okay.
So to
conclude on
so to push water down that pipe, do we? I really threw a spanner in the works there.
You really did. But yeah, these here all night, ladies.
And men.
And men. You really shouted that one out.
In it. Just in case there was confusion as to who I was really here for.
Yeah.
It is the ladies.
Right,
gosh. Circling the drain.
Let's circle back.
Do we love Julia being so publicly petty, or do we think it's an abuse of her position?
I mean,
it's easy to say it's iconic, but when you are the other woman
on the receiving end,
falling apart, that is shit, because she, as far as we're aware, has done nothing wrong.
Yeah. With time, it could be more iconic, but right now, and definitely
I don't know how
then,
much longer you can give it. It's been 2 decades.
We need at least 4 for it to be like,
well, all being well, in season 20 of Famously in Love, we'll be circling back to this.
We're circling back to see how we feel about it. So, we've talked about what it means to be in a power couple, the impact your relationship can have on your career, and why we're seeing so many celebrities upgrade their partners. I want to put upgrade in quotations, though, because that's rude.
Yeah, isn't it?
So rude.
Cash you in for a brighter model.
Now, Jack, what do you make of it now we've chatted about it more? Are there pros and cons to, you know, upgrading?
I just think we notice these things more. I think they still happens outside of celeb world. Like, I still, you know, I know friends who I would say have, for want of a better word, like worked on themselves.
Yeah.
And therefore realised, oh, the relationship I'm in is kind of no fault of the other person, but I'm just in a different place to what I was.
Yeah.
So calling it an upgrade is rude.
Yeah.
But you have, let's just say, veered into a different lane.
Pivoted.
Yeah. And I think that's what happens in celeb world. It's just easier to criticise it as like, oh, the one from Home, whatever gender they are, is the one scorned because they were holding you down the whole time, holding it down for you, with you the whole time. But yeah, I think as people grow and change, in the in the words of Bridesmaids, if we're growing, we're changing.
Yeah.
And I think their couplings do as well.
I truly believe that everybody's allowed to grow, pivot, change. I believe in rebranding, and if that means your relationship, you know, time to pivot, change, rebrand. However, I do think sometimes the grass does always look greener on the other side.
I'm such a victim of that.
And like, instead of taking the hand of the other person and being like, hey, this is where I am, let's walk together and grow together, you automatically like, they're not going to catch up in time. Toodles, off to get something shiny in you.
Yeah.
And I think that is a problem.
I agree with that.
That is a problem, because a lot of these celebrities, because then they get to, you know, these bits in their career and they all talk about how like lonely it is and how they don't have anyone who they can trust.
Been there since day one.
Exactly. But like you sacked them off the second, you know, you got the accolades or you got the paycheck. So
I agree.
I think take some time, hold the hand, and if it doesn't work after trying at least, fine. But I think there has to be some trying that takes place. And I think even if we don't look at celebrities, like just, you know, your regular manager at X shop. If they get a promotion or, you know, they jump up the ranks, all of a sudden they're going to all these fancy, you know, soirees for work. And the stay-at-home wife is kind of like, what's happening here? Or the person who they met when they were both working in a coffee shop is like, what's happening here? You know? So I think it works across the board. But yeah, hold the hand of the person you're with and try and show them your new world. They don't have to necessarily fully understand it, but at least give them your perspective in your new world, and they might surprise you.
Wow.
Wise.
A sermon. Well, I don't really have anything to add to that. That was really good. Well done.
Thank you.
My goodness.
Thank you for that.
You really redeemed yourself from Olo.
Okay, well, there we go again. Thanks so much for watching. You can listen to Famously in Love on BBC Sounds and watch on the BBC Sounds YouTube channel.
And remember, for more in-depth celeb stories and controversies, listen to Famously on Trial on BBC Sounds with Stacey Dooley and Larry Dean.